you for your patience. We had a few technical issues. Welcome to Kent County, Maryland. This is the Department of Planning, Housing, and Zoning's administrative hearing. I'm Bill Mackey. I'm the director. And with me is Rob Tracy, our associate planner, Mark Carper, our associate planner. Yeah, and Tyler Arnold, who is our GIS coordinator and serving as clerk. So welcome. We have 3 items on the agenda. We will go through those items in the order of the agenda. The way the process works is the clerk reads into the record the public notice of the hearing. Everyone who's going to testify takes an oath, and then staff will present a summary staff report, and then applicants are able to come and address the issue. And if there's anyone in the audience who supports that particular application, they can speak. If anyone comes in opposition, then they speak, and then all parties have the opportunity to question each other, and there's closing remarks. If there is no opposition, and there is no other folks for support, it does move pretty quickly. So appreciate you all being here. Part of this public process is so that your neighbors are aware of things that are happening on the property. They get an opportunity to come and speak. And as you know, your property is posted and your neighbors are alerted by letter. So thank you for coming. Appreciate you observing the process. And let's begin. So if you are going to testify today, please raise your right hand. And if you're online, you can do this at home. Do you affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth to the best of your belief and knowledge?
I do.
Thank you very much. All righty. So our first item is Jason and Catherine Halpin, administrative variance for front setback. So, have you read the staff report?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Why don't we do a summary of the staff report? Yeah.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Haplin are requesting a 30-foot variance from the 100-foot front yard setback requirement to construct a portico, 6 foot by 8 foot to their existing single-family dwelling. The property is located at 27320 Morg Neck Road and is in the 2nd election district, and their zoning is AZD. Article 9, Section 2 outlines the administrative variance criteria. Notably, within that is the practical difficulty. In analyzing this case, the practical difficulty is the fact that the house was constructed prior to the enactment of this ordinance, and it's likely that the topography at that time influenced the location of the house. So I think that that would be the practical difficulty. Another notable feature of the administrative variance criteria is adverse effects to the neighborhood. Based on staff's analysis, there are no unknown adverse impacts that we could foresee. So with that information, staff would recommend approval with the recommendation that there be a condition that if no substantial construction occur within 1 year, that the administrative variance lapse.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rob. Okay. Sean, would you like to come up and address your application? Yes, yep. And you have to hit the button so the light turns green.
Yeah, thank you for presenting that. We are here just to request for the variance, administrative variance, 30 feet to the setback as proposed. And it's really to enhance the weather feature, the weather protection feature of our front door. Front door system has severely degraded. The existing brick stoop, which we have, is actually 5 feet 6 inches out from the house. So our proposed portico is only going to be 6 feet 6 inches beyond that. That has also severely degraded. So we do have a safety issue into the front entry of our house. So we're trying to address, and subsequently to with the age of the house, and as we're doing some repairs to the siding, there appears to be a feature that showed that there used to be a porch onto the front of the house. So for what that's worth, but appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this matter? Yes, sir. Please come up.
I'm Jason's neighbor, Catherine.
If you can come up to the mic just so we can capture that. Thank you, sir.
My name is Mike Kern, and I'm 27298. I own the property next to and behind Jason. I just want to give him full support on what he's doing. I feel like if he didn't rescue that property in 10 years, there'd be a bulldozer in there, and he's working 7 days a week, and every day I see a plumber and a well driller, and he's been an exemplary neighbor, and Lori and I, my wife, are 100% behind the Halperns. That's all I
Thank you
have
for
to say.
coming out and saying so. Appreciate that. All right, is there anyone online who wants to speak to this item? All right.
This is Catherine. I do have one question pertaining to the item. Being that it would have to be completed within a year, does that mean the building permit will be issued with this variance being approved? So that way we can get the clock started?
So there is a 30-day tolling, waiting period in Maryland to allow for appeals. So we can work on the building permit, we can work toward it, but we can't actually issue the building permit until 30 days from this hearing. And if you feel that 1 year is insufficient, since COVID, we've been increasing that to 2 years when folks feel like their contractors may not be able to get out there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, do you desire to make a closing comment?
No, sir.
No, okay. All righty, well, first of all, I'd like to include staff's comments and reports on the record, the comments by TAC on the record, applicant's presentation and application, and based on the information presented, and that no one has come to provide other evidence that there might be a known impact, I'm going to concur with staff and recommend approval of the variance. I would like the condition to be 2 years from this date as the condition. And usually it's a week or two and you get a signed decision, and then again, 30 days from today, if your permit's ready to go and everything's in place, we can issue it. But we can't issue it sooner than that. So, but we can certainly work on it, and we always do. So, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Hoppen. All righty. Thank you. All righty. And our next item is, and thank you, sir, for coming out. Mike, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. Take care. All righty, our next item is Elizabeth Posey, administrative
Unknown
variance.
participant is now exiting.
For administrative variance for front yard setback. So who's here for that? Yes, sir. Nice to have you here, Bill. We're sort of, it's nice to have you here. We're sort of on opposite sides of the deal today.
Well, yeah.
I like to say that I can do all the things a board does, except I can't do a tie vote. So, and is this you, Rob?
This
Okay,
is.
I'm going to ask the staff presentation, and I'm assuming of course you've read it.
Yes.
Yes. So if you can do a summary, Mr. Rob.
Be happy to.
Thank you.
So Mr. and Mrs. Posey are requesting a 14-foot variance from the 50-foot front yard setback requirement to construct a replacement single-family dwelling on their property, and that is located at 25168 Wymont Park Road in Wharton, and is zoned critical area residential. The property is 0.408, or in square feet, that's about 17,772 square feet. Article 9, Section 2 outlines the administrative variance requirements for an administrative variance to be approved. Notably, one of the criteria is practical difficulty, which stems from some unique characteristic of the property. Within our ordinance, we have dimensions for a model size. The property is about 17,772 square feet, and is approximately, it's rectangular in shape, and the lot width is 125, and the lot depth is about 150. Our ordinance, so based on our ordinance, this would be, the lot would exceed the minimum width requirement of 75 feet, but would be less than the model lot dimensions. So it's really, I'm sorry, excuse me. So the model says 125, by 150. Their lot is 75 by 290. So it's, and here is the site plan, and you'll see that to the, I believe it's to the west, you have the septic reserve area, and then to the south, you have their existing septic tanks, which also, in addition to the smaller lot than our model size, you also have those features which kind of constrict the area in which that they could build. So basically,
It's also not orthogonal, so it's parallelogram. That adds more complication for setbacks. for sure.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And so, based on that, thank you. Based on that information, the lot size and the lot width, in comparison to our model ordinance, it's smaller. And we think, I think that would be a practical difficulty. Based on the information that was presented to us, I don't foresee, there are no known adverse impacts to the community. Staff would recommend approval of the administrative variance with a condition that it elapse if no substantial construction has been, within a year.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Thank you, Rob.
Sure.
Very much. Bill?
Well, Ms. Posey couldn't be here today. She has children, grandchildren she's watching, and she may be online. This piece of property and the house that is currently on, it's been in her family for years. This is where she grew up. Her parents have since passed away, and she has inherited this property. However, the house is very old, very small, so she would like to replace it with this new dwelling. And as she was going through this process, the health department wanted the septic system looked at. They determined that she is more than likely going to have to put in a new septic system. And the restrictions that they put on it, or requirements, were it couldn't be within 25 feet of the existing septic system. It couldn't be within 50 feet of the existing well or 30 feet of the existing well, and had to be 50 feet from a proposed well. So that forced them to put the septic system in the entire side yard down here. This development's pretty old down there. Most of the houses sit very close to the road. On the south side of the road, those are waterfront lots, so most of those houses are all within 30 feet of the road. The houses on each side, on the west side, it's 19 and a half feet. On the east side, that one's 35.9 at its furthest, and 35.4. So we came 36 feet to try to get this fit in there. We would have probably designed a house that sat parallel with the road and was long ways, but we couldn't make the septic system work. So that's why we're asking for the variance. And she fully intends on getting rid of the old house very quickly, starting the new house as soon as she can get the building permit.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'd like to certainly include your testimony and application in the record, the TAC comments and review, and also staff's report. I'd like to ask, is there anyone in the audience to speak on this application? Is there anyone
Hi,
online?
this is Miss Posey.
Yes, hello, Ms. Posey.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate everything that you said, Bill, and this is the property that I grew up on, and I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years, and it was always my intent to come back here and rebuild and settle down here, so I appreciate your support.
Thank you.
And we're glad she's finally ready to settle down.
Well, I certainly believe that this has met all the requirements for variance from evidence on record. There is no one who's come forward to mention any unknown impacts that we hadn't noticed, so certainly would like to approve the variance. I think I also would go ahead and like to extend it to the 2 years as well. I know that's been an issue with many folks, instead of having people have to return. So instead of it expiring in 1 year, it expires in 2.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Good work, good
Very much.
application.
You're up, Paul.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Unknown participant is now exiting.
Yes. We can do that at the end, yeah, thank you. Good point. Okay. Next item is Kyriakides? Did I say that right? Yeah, I like the name. Yeah, please come forward. Ms. Kyriakides? Mr. Kyriakides? Yeah, thank you. Ah, okay.
It's Darlene and Paul, correct?
Darlene and Paul, thank you for coming. Yeah.
How you
All right.
doing?
Thank you, Mark. All righty. Have you all read the staff report?
Yes.
Yes, okay. If you can present a summary.
Yes, good morning. Ms. Kyriakides is requesting a 15-foot variance from the 30-foot rear yard setback requirement in order to replace an existing dwelling with one that would be 2,016 square feet. Also included that would be a front porch and a patio on the property. The parcel itself is within a modified buffer area. The land use ordinance does allow for the expansion of existing structures within the modified buffer area. It does require a mitigation of 3-to-1 for the increased impact of that. So for this particular proposed project, the 1,294 square feet of expansion would require a minimum of 3,882 square feet of plantings within the buffer. In terms of the meeting the requirements for a variance, staff and TAC comments are as follows. The property itself is along a short, narrow peninsula with a limited area for building between a slope extending toward the Chesapeake Bay and a road along the rear yard. Adjacent homes are equally close and share that same difficulty. Practical difficulty of size and shape of the property is not in the making of the applicant. There are no known houses of worship, schools, public structure, other places of public gathering immediately. No known impacts on community facilities or services. Comprehensive plan is neutral in this matter, and the proposal is consistent with the intent of the ordinance. Staff does recommend approval of this requested variance with the following conditions. One is that during the demolition of the existing structure, that a smart silt fence be placed between the slope extending toward the bay, and that the buffer enhancement plan be submitted prior to review of the building permit for this, and that a variance hereby granted would lapse after 2 years. If no substantial construction in accordance with the plans herein presented were to occur. And I just added to the staff recommendations in terms of the
I noticed.
buffer enhancement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you.
All righty. Ms. Darlene, Mr. Paul?
Well, this is my first time. Yeah, bear with me with this. We're gonna tear down the old structure, and we're gonna do a custom modular. And we wanted to put a garage on the end. So this is the reason why we need extension of the, going into the other property.
Okay.
So, and she's homeless right now because she sold a place to move here. And this is taking longer than what we expected. So this would really help us. I mean, your decision would help us move along. And then we can figure out if we had to downsize it or move it or whatever, we can do after you make your decision that what we can do and what we can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much. Well, I'd like to include in the record the staff report, your testimony and application, staff's comments and tax comments. There is no one online except us now, and the room is you all the last applicant, so there's no one here to oppose.
Okay.
So, or bring any other facts. Part of these hearings are, you hear staff report, we say there's no known impacts. Part of this public hearing is there may be a neighbor who says, well, wait, there is an impact on me. So it gives neighbors an opportunity. So with all that in mind, I would decide absolutely to grant approval. As we've just said before, there's a 30-day period, but, I mean, we can work on the permit, you can work on the permit so that if everything comes together, it certainly can be ready to issue in the 30 days. If all the other things come together, there's health department, other issues. But we can't issue it at minimum until 30 days.
Okay.
But we'll certainly be working towards that. And I do want to add the 2 years just to give you time in case
Yeah,
there's.
Thank
we appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for coming out.
Well,
Appreciate your
thank you
application.
for, like I said, this is my first time, so I
Well,
appreciate it.
we look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, well, you probably will.
So you'll receive
to meet you.
an official letter notifying you of this decision.
Okay.
And from this date, a permit could be issued within 30 days, or 30 days from this date. So in terms of the buffer management plan, we can work together on that.
Yeah, Bill Nicholson with Extreme Measures.
Buck Nickerson?
Buck,
Yeah.
Buck, I said
Yeah.
Bill, Buck. He's gonna bring it to your office.
Excellent.
The Mylar and the 3 copies.
This, you're speaking about the lot line adjustment.
Oh, that's the lot line.
We
adjustment.
received those.
Oh, he-
We're just waiting for the 30 days after that TAC hearing. So the middle of next month, those will be signed and sent for recording. So that was for the
okay.
lot line adjustment. This is a different matter in terms of the buffer enhancement. It's about putting plants in within the buffer.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But we can visit about this later if you like.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty. And do one of you gentlemen have a copy of the advertisement in your file? Okay, because I skipped over reading it into the record, so would you care to read it into the record? Thank you, Mark.
The following notice was posted in the Kent County News on September 19th, 2024. On Friday, September 27th, 2024, at 10 a.m., the Kent County Director of Planning, Housing, and Zoning will hold a public hearing in the County Commissioners' Hearing Room, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland, on the following matters. Jason and Catherine Halpin requesting an administrative front yard setback variance to construct a front portico. The property is located at 27320 Morgneck Road, Chestertown. Palasa Kyriakides, my apologies, requesting an administrative rear yard setback variance to construct replacement dwelling. The property is located at 9068 Point Lane, Chestertown. Elizabeth Posey requesting an administrative front yard setback variance to construct a replacement dwelling. The property is located at 25168 Wymont Park Road, Wharton. If you have any questions, please contact the department at 410-778-7423. If you need communication assistance, please contact the Maryland Relay Service at www.mdrelay.org or 711 for voice assistance. Letters were sent to adjacent property owners on September 11th and September 12th, 2024. The properties were posted on September 12th, 2024.
Thank you very much. And with that, it ends our meeting. Thank you for anyone who's attending on YouTube virtually, and we usually have these about once a month. So thank you all, team, and we're adjourned.